Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to Cassiopeia, the Serpent's Embrace. If this is your first time here, what we do is we take a look at the biography and story, then we move on to any cinematics Cassiopeia might have, take a look at the abilities, take a look at the skins, and finally end off with the wiki and the voice lines near the end of the video. So there are quite a bit of people that we've reacted to around Cassiopeia. You know, I've reacted to Sivir recently. I've reacted to Katarina, her sister. That's something I know about her. And then I've reacted to, all the Shuriman champions, basically. There's a few that I think I'm still missing, like Xerath and Talia, things like that. But we've pretty much reacted to a lot of people around Cassiopeia. We haven't reacted to her herself. So I definitely need to learn, how she becomes a snake. I can't recall. It might have been mentioned to me before. But let's actually dive in here and maybe we'll learn more about her and her sister Katarina and their relationship. I know way back when I did the Katarina reaction, I don't think we learned too much. And you know what? We just did an Elise reaction before this one. So I thought, you know what? Let's get like a half humanoid, another thing, right? So here we go. We're going with a snake this time instead of a spider. Quote says, secrets are sharper than blades. Ooh, that's kind of a badass line. Role is mage. Region is Noxus. We have Katarina, Renekton, Nasus, Xerath, Sivir, and Azir, and Talon. Yep. That all makes sense to me. We haven't reacted to Talon yet, but I did learn a little bit about Talon from the Katarina comic. All right, the paragraph says, Cassiopeia is a deadly creature bent on manipulating others to her will. Youngest and most beautiful daughter of the noble Dukuto family of Noxus, she ventured deep into the crypts beneath Shurima in search of ancient power. There, she was bitten by a gruesome tomb guardian whose venom transformed her into a viper-like predator. Cunning and agile, Cassiopeia now slithers under the veil of night, petrifying her enemies with her baleful gaze. Obviously, there's the connection to, like, Medusa in mythology, so that's pretty obvious too, right? All right, let's dive into this biography. I do see from the splash art here, you see the people turn to stone. Very cool. And there's like poison coming out of her nails, hands, fingers, I mean. The youngest child of General Dukuto, Cassiopeia was born to a life of possibility and privilege among the Noxian noble houses. From an early age, she displayed a keen mind and sharp wit, and while her sister Katarina flourished under their father's tutelage, it was their mother, Soriana, in whose footsteps Cassiopeia would follow. Right, that just reminded me. Yeah, so Katarina was always like following her father. We learned a lot about that relationship, but Cassiopeia was with mom. A hero of Noxus's expansion into Shurima, General Dukuto eventually sent for his family, installing them close to the governor of the coastal city of Urzuris. Surrounded by strangers in an unfamiliar land, Cassiopeia remained close to her mother, learning much of politics, diplomacy, and subtle influence. As she grew, Cassiopeia could not help but glimpse other hidden concerns within Soriana beyond those of the Empire. One day, quite unexpectedly, Soriana collapsed in the family residence. Her hairbrush had been laced with caustic venoms by an unknown hand, leaving her close to death. General Dukuto was well versed in the ways of an assassin, and so he had all the household staff removed, leaving his wife and daughters alone in an empty house. Still little more than a child, Cassiopeia was never left her mother's bedside. While Soriana's recovery took many months, the bond between them became stronger than ever before. When the general was recalled to Noxus to prepare for the long-awaited invasion of Ionia, he took Katarina with him, but Cassiopeia remained in Urzuris. Seemingly relieved, Soriana confided in her daughter that she belonged to a clandestine and secretive cabal known by some as the Black Rose. Oh, I had no idea. Okay, so Soriana was part of the Black Rose, their mom. Having guided the Empire for centuries, they had finally managed to spread their influence into Shurima. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, now free of her husband's watchful eye, Soriana's real work could begin. In time and under her mother's tutelage, Cassiopeia blossomed into a young woman of tremendous beauty, cunning, and intelligence, if somewhat lacking in empathy. She saw those around her as tools to be used to achieve her goals and then cast aside just as quickly. Wow, that's pretty rough. Though she had barely reached the cusp of womanhood, she was initiated into the Black Rose by hunting down and eliminating those who had sought the death of her mother. Okay, maybe I forgot, or maybe I think I was told once or twice maybe that she was a part of the Black Rose, but I had no idea. So yeah, okay, I guess we're doing another Black Rose member. Totally forgot, totally didn't know. Here we go. We're just reacting to Black Rose champs. She surprised even Soriana with her speed and efficiency and left no trace of her activities or her proxies behind. Only then was Cassiopeia made privy to the Cabal's broader plan for Shurima. Using her family's tremendous resources, she undertook a number of expeditions into the deep desert, raiding ancient ruins with the help of a local mercenary named Sivir. Her efforts were made all the more urgent when word reached Urzuris from the capital. Grand General Borum Darkwill had been deposed by General Jericho Swain, and a number of noble houses has chosen to honor this coup, including Duke Kuto. Outraged and disgusted by her husband's betrayal and fearing that all members of the Black Rose were now in jeopardy, Soriana became desperate. She dispatched Cassiopeia to seek out the godlike power that had been the key to Shurima's supremacy in ages past. Oh, wow. Okay, this is all connected. This is kind of cool. So we have Jericho Swain taking over in Noxus, and her father was honoring that, but mom was not happy with it. And so then they thought the Black Rose was in jeopardy. So she's like, okay, we got to go get this godlike power. And so that's how this whole thing with Cassiopeia, Sivir, all that stuff happens. That's pretty crazy. Cassiopeia swore she would return with a weapon ready for the looming secret war or not at all. Oh, and so that's why she wanted Sivir's weapon, but that ends up, backfiring. Fulfilling this oath would leave her changed forever. Upon unearthing a long-lost tomb of the mythical Ascended, she knew this was the threshold to the power she sought and intended to dispatch all witnesses from her expedition before claiming it. The guide Sivir was the first to fall to Cassiopeia's blade, but then an ancient stone tomb guardian reared up and buried its fangs into her flesh. Overcome by its arcane toxins, she was carried back through the desert by her hired soldiers, screaming as her body twisted into something new and unspeakable. Cassiopeia locked herself in the disused crypt of the Urzaris residence and endured the untold agonies of this transformation. Gone was the brilliant and beautiful daughter of Soriana du Couteau, replaced by a monstrous, slithering creature that skulked in the shadows, spitting poison and crushing stone as easily as glass. I guess she can't go back to like a full human form. She's just straight up a snake now, like snake humanoid. For weeks she wept and howled, grieving her lost life, until the day she could weep no more. She dragged herself up from the depths of despair, determined to accept, maybe even someday embrace, her fate. It was not the ascension she had hoped for, but Cassiopeia had unearthed the magic of dead Shuriman gods. She would turn it to the schemes of the Black Rose, just as she and her mother had planned, and she could feel this power growing within her day by day, though into what even she cannot guess. Wow, okay, we have another humanoid creature thing helping out the Black Rose. So some very powerful people, specifically very powerful women in the Black Rose. I mean, obviously we do have Vladimir as well, but very cool. I had no idea. That kind of took me by surprise. And I love the fact that we learned of like this domino effect of Jericho Swain taking over, which led to Cassiopeia doing this raid in the Shuriman tombs, which then led to her becoming a snake. Very cool. All right, we have the story. It is called The Shedding of Skin, and it looks like probably her kind of above Urzaris, it looks like maybe here. Cassiopeia reclined against the crenellated rooftop and gazed over the winding alleys and crowded streets of Urzaris. A Noxian possession for years, the coastal city still refused to completely embrace its new identity. It felt ancient and quietly resistant to the future. So Shuriman. Untroubled by the cool night air, Cassiopeia wore a shift of translucent silk, which revealed the transition at her hips where soft skin merged into sinuous, overlapping snake scales. The scent of roasted meat wafted up to her hidden eyrie, but it could not mask the vile stench of thousands of people living on top of each other. Her mouth burned as noxious venom mingled with her saliva. Ew. She flexed her muscular tail, cracking the stonework and sending crumbled fragments to the streets below. So she can just like smell all these humans. Rats scattered from the falling stone, filthy street urchins dashed around street corners as hooded figures whispered in the shadows, and burly soldiers staggered in and out of taverns. All were oblivious to the predator lurking in the darkness above. Cassiopeia brushed a taloned hand against her scaly side, her serpentine figure concealed by the shadows. Once she had been a powerful figure in Noxus. Assassins killed at her slightest whim, soldiers spilled their darkest secrets, and generals willingly followed her counsel in the hopes of patronage. Cassiopeia sighed. These days, she emerged only under cover of night. No longer was she an influential voice in Noxian society, not since she had been reduced to this grotesque abomination in hiding. Yeah, see, we're gonna see her like maybe embrace this in this story. Upon her return from the desert, Cassiopeia had hidden in the crypt of her family's residence, fearful of her transformation. She remained alone in the cold, dark vault for weeks, filled with disgust for her serpentine body and mourning the loss of her aristocratic life. Eventually, a growing desire to hunt overwhelmed her, and she ventured out to roam the city by night as the household slumbered. Cassiopeia put aside her reverie as a broad-shouldered soldier in a leather breastplate stumbled into a tavern, drink in hand. Finally, this was the man she'd been waiting for. She trailed his movements from above, following him silently over fortress walls and archways until he entered an empty courtyard. Perfect. Cassiopeia slithered onto an adjacent roof, eyes glinting with predatory thrill. Her figure cast a shadow across the soldier. He turned, drunkenly defiant. "I know you're there. Show yourself," he said. Cassiopeia's tail twitched in anticipation. Her forked tongue extended, tasting the air. She drew the sweet scent of his blood into her lungs, then exhaled with great satisfaction. That's, oh God. Okay, I guess we're just also reacting to like female champions that are just like preying on people. It's kind of crazy. "Fight me face to face," he shouted. "I ain't gonna be stalked like some animal." Cassiopeia let out an angry hiss. By the time the soldier looked up, she'd slid to the opposite side of the courtyard and perched directly above him, remaining out of sight in the shadows. You consider yourself better than an animal, do you? She said. The man's head turned abruptly, trying to pinpoint the sound of her voice. How'd you get across so fast? He said, his wavering tone betraying false bravado. Even beasts are nothing to your savagery, said Cassiopeia. Wow. Breathless, he edged away, looking for an escape. He hammered his fists against every door, but each was bolted shut. Cassiopeia imagined his mind racing to solve the riddle of who was hunting him and why. He unsheathed his sword, turning on the spot, unsure where to direct his threat. You don't want to cross me. I've got worse enemies than you. Not just enemies, Cassiopeia replied. I've seen your handiwork. You're not the only one who creeps about in the dark. Oh. She spat a bilious wad of venom as he turned toward the sound of her voice. The man howled in pain, coin-sized holes burning through his armor and into his skin. She inhaled the satisfying sear of burning leather and flesh. God, she's like torturing him now. The man brandished his sword. Who are you? Why are you doing this? I've been watching you, replied Cassiopeia. I know what you are, what you do. What I do is no business of yours. I know you're murdering children for drake meat. I hear it's quite lucrative. What? Oh, okay. Cassiopeia out here being a vigilante, kind of. The man tried to pry open the shutters of a nearby window with the flat of his sword, but they were too bolted shut. Then there's the 3 tavern wenches, said Cassiopeia, Sarmella, Elman, and Lix. They were found in the river yesterday. Their faces were hardly recognizable once you'd finished with them. She really is out here being a vigilante. Okay, this is kind of cool. She relished the thought of sinking her talons into his flesh. The man readied his stance. You can't fight me from the shadows. Show yourself. Very well, Cassiopeia said. She slithered down to the courtyard and rose to her full height. Yeah, I'm actually wondering how high or how tall she is. The man's eyes widened in horror, his hands trembling. Cassiopeia stood head and shoulders over the man, glaring down with narrowing eyes. Monster, he cried. Monster, murmured Cassiopeia. Not the worst I've been called. She slid left and whipped her tail across his legs, effortlessly knocking him to the ground. Curling her tail around his chest, she squeezed his ribcage tighter and tighter, sensing his pounding heart straining beneath her grasp. She heard bones crack. She resisted the urge to break him completely and released her grip. He crawled to his sword, grasping it in desperation. She so enjoyed watching him tremble. Yeah, she is torturing this guy. She circled him slowly. He met her gaze and stared in slow recognition. I know your face. The Lady Cassiopeia, he said. Look at you. Point to the ground, he pushed himself onto his feet with his sword. You chase drunkards like me through the filthy gutters of this city now, is that it? The man spat a wad of blood. From such great heights we fall, eh? Oh, okay, that's a big diss. She hissed, exposing dripping yellow fangs. Cassiopeia's gaze bored into the man's eyes, locking them in a cold-hearted bond. She screamed, pouring all her rage into the cry, fury at the unfairness of her current state, anger at the loss of her privileged life, resentment for her failed ambitions. She channeled it all into the screeching, mind-shredding wail. Ooh, does she have like a scream ability? As she screamed, her fury was replaced with joy. It felt like she was floating, her potential for greatness infinite. Every fiber of her being sang with ancient power. Searing emerald light blazed from Cassiopeia's eyes. The man's final panic was outlined in silhouette as he petrified from the inside out. His stare hardened, grayed, and stiffened. His last cry of terror stifled as her curse transformed his flesh to stone. All right, there's the Medusa ability. Cassiopeia slithered up to the statue and softly caressed its hard cheek, what was once skin fractured into a grisly pattern resembling a dried riverbed. Once I had to manipulate, bribe, or otherwise persuade people to orchestrate my schemes, she said, but now I simply take what I want. She whipped her tail forward, smashing the statue to the ground. She smiled, eyes glinting, as it shattered into 1,000 pieces of rubble and dust. Cassiopeia flushed with pride as she considered her handiwork. Her life as a noble was over, yes, but never had she felt such boundless power coursing through her veins. She slithered back onto the rooftops, her mind awhirl with ideas. Her next victim would offer her a far greater challenge. Okay, I actually kind of didn't expect this of her because, you know, I guess I just thought of Cassiopeia as like an evil character, which obviously she was doing some pretty evil things, torturing the guy and everything like that. But at least she was killing a bad person, right? I guess it kind of reminded me of, I guess, Dexter a little bit. If you guys know Dexter, like the serial killer that just kills other serial killers. A little bit like that, but also just kind of like a vigilante at the same time too. I think this story also let us see, you know, she's embracing it finally. And also we got to see kind of like her abilities, which we're going to get into next. Let's take a look at Cassiopeia's abilities now. So roll mage, difficulty is high for her. All right, so we have the passive, Serpentine Grace. Cassiopeia gains move speed per level, but she cannot purchase boots items. Oh, that totally makes sense. No boots, because I know boots in League obviously gives you some speed or move speed. That's totally funny that you can't buy boots on her. Okay, Noxious Blast. Q. Okay, so she just like attaches it to an enemy. It's not even like a tossed AoE or anything. Cassiopeia blasts an area with poison after a brief delay, granting her increased move speed if she hits an enemy champion. Miasma. Ooh. Oh, that ability looks good. It really slows them down in it. So that's the W. Cassiopeia releases several clouds of poison, slowing, grounding, and lightly damaging enemies that pass through them. Grounded enemies cannot use movement abilities. Next is Twin Fang. Oh, that's like the poison that I think I was seeing coming out of her hands, yeah? That's her E. Cassiopeia lets loose an attack that deals increased damage to poison targets and heals her for a percentage of the damage dealt. If the target dies from this attack, Cassiopeia regains mana. All right, her E is pretty solid. You gain health and mana if they end up dying. And her ultimate, Petrifying Gaze. That makes sense. Okay, so Cassiopeia releases a swirl of magical energy from her eyes, stunning any enemies in front of her that are facing her and slowing any others with their back turned. Oh, that's so cool that it actually notices if the champions are looking at her or not. That's really awesome. And it's pretty instantaneous when she ults here. Like, it's very fast, so it's kind of hard to maybe get out of that. All right, I mean, I'm not sure why the difficulty is necessarily high. Maybe you guys can let me know any little nuances about playing Cassiopeia in the comments. But overall, her abilities don't necessarily seem too difficult to me. So generally when I see high difficulty, I'm thinking maybe the abilities are really hard to use or something, but these don't seem too bad. So you guys let me know in the comments everything about Cassiopeia. All right, everybody, and this is just a PSA that I've already watched the Shurima Descent into the Tomb cinematic that features, you know, Sivir and Cassiopeia and everything like that. So we're not going to watch it. It is in my like full breakdown videos where I watch all of the League of Legends cinematic for the first time. So go check that out if you haven't already. But I remember the cinematic. I remember it was like telling the story of everything basically and how they ended up going to the tomb and releasing the Ascended, right? So very good cinematic. I really like the art in this, but we don't need to really rewatch it again. But also that tells me there aren't any other cool cinematics for Cassiopeia, unfortunately. And apparently everybody, she does not have a login screen. I'm looking for like an official League of Legends one, and I looked through their playlist and everything. She doesn't have a login screen. She doesn't have a champion theme, anything like that. So unfortunately, we're not going to get anything regarding any music for Cassiopeia either. I understand she's a very old champion, but this is kind of rare for there not to even be a login screen. All right, as always, guys, let's go ahead and finally get into the skins for this champion. So Cassiopeia has a decent amount. Looks like 10 skins here. I'll pick my top 3. You let me know what your favorite skin for Cassiopeia is in the comments. And this time it is straight from the League of Legends Wiki. Not sure when it's been last updated, but here we go. Let's look at the 3D models. All right, here we go. In all her snake glory here. Her face is a lot scary. Oh, the tongue came out. Her face is a lot scarier than I guess I thought it was, because the splash art looks pretty cool, but her face in-game, pretty darn scary. And the original skin actually does have chromas. That's very rare, but also cool that she does have that. Okay, I think they're pretty solid if you want to switch it up a little bit, but I think her original is probably the best. Next up is Desperada. All right, she throws a snake in that splash art. That's pretty fun. Oh, she actually looks pretty badass in this. It's not technically a high noon skin, although it kind of has that kind of going on with it. But this was probably obviously made before high noon existed. I think it's pretty solid. I do like the change in the color of the snake scales, and I love the hat actually, and the outfit, it's really good as well. Next is Siren Cassiopeia. Okay. That makes sense. You know, like a siren or a mermaid, kind of scary. Oh, the head is very weird, but I guess that makes sense. They're turning Cassiopeia into like a siren or a mermaid or whatever. So the snake scales don't really look like snake scales anymore. It looks a little bit more like dragon scales a little bit, maybe. I think this one's okay. I think her face and head shape is kind of weird with this stuff on the side, so it's not my favorite. Next up is just called Mythic. It looks like a Greek goddess kind of skin here, which is cool. I feel like we don't have any skins really necessarily like that. With Greek mythology, that makes sense, right? So they're probably going with that, with the whole Medusa thing. Yeah, I like the color of the snake scales and everything like that. And then I love the outfit. And then I forget what these things are called that she's wearing behind her head, but I think that's really cool as well. All right, we're kind of flying through these. These older ones, you know, there aren't any chromas. There's not any additional things we really need to look at. Oh, okay, so they did a little bit of a flare thing here with Jade Fang Cassiopeia. So she has some fans floating around her. I don't know if something goes on with that in the game. And then this like crown she's wearing, these jade snakes, pretty on the nose a little bit, to be honest with you. But it's kind of a badass crown, helmet, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I like this one. Next is Eternum. Have I seen an Eternum skin? I'm not sure if I have. Oh, I really like her face in this one. She looks like she's like a devil. It's like a snake devil. I like the armor. The armor is really cool, especially these two like floating around her, and then her crown or helmet again that I'm gonna call it. And then she's really just like a red snake, but then her snake like body has armor on it. Yeah, I think it's really cool. It's almost like a molten kind of skin. But I guess Eternum. I think this one's really good. So far, I think that might be my favorite. Oh, here we go. All right, Spirit Blossom. I'm sure it's gonna step up quite a bit, and I think it does. Oh my God. Okay, so the scales are pink, which looks so cool. She's in like I don't even know what this is called. What are these called that she's wearing? I'll just call it a robe. And then her head adornments are really, really cool. And then I just love like the purple and pink hues here. Let's take a look at some of the chromas though. Red is really, oh, the red is actually really, really good too. Oh yeah, I feel like her face maybe got an update in this too on Spirit Blossom. I'm not sure. This so far is obviously the best skin. I mean, Spirit Blossom skins are always so, so good. I think this is my favorite. All right, we do have 3 more though. We have, okay, Coven. Coven skins always go really hard as well. Ooh, I love the blonde hair. I love like the black and green outfit. Yeah, and then the floating, again, the like floating things of whatever this is around her that just adds to the design. I think her outfit is actually maybe better in this versus Spirit Blossom. Maybe I just like the dark colors. But then I like the head adornment, I think, a little bit more when it comes to the Spirit Blossom. And I just like the pink and purple hues, I guess, as well. But I really like this one as well. All right, Spirit Blossom and Coven. That one's going to be a hard one to choose between if we have to. All right, we have 2 more to look at. Oh, Bewitching. You guys know I love my Bewitching skins. Ooh, okay. Yep. Oh, this, okay. Hold on. The outfit here, the witch outfit, super, super good. I think the hair is maybe okay. But the snake, I feel like they kind of just let it be whatever. It's like a gummy worm back here. Okay, anyway. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with the actual snake part of her body, but I'm loving the bewitching part in the front here. I mean, she's full on just a witch. The witch outfit is perfect, but I wish they had done a little bit more with the snake body in the back, I guess. I'm not actually complaining. This skin is really awesome. I would actually love to have this skin in the game. Yeah, I think the bewitching skin's awesome. And according to the wiki, we only have 1 more. Oh, Prestige Mythmaker. Okay. Prestige Mythmaker. Was there a regular Mythmaker? Isn't there usually both? I guess let's just look at Prestige Mythmaker. Ooh. Oh, very nice. Oh, see, this is what I think was missing from the Bewitching skin, is I just actually like seeing the snake scales. I do like the little stinger here on the back. Anyway, I love this color of green that she's wearing. I like the hair. The hair's kind of crazy, but I do like it. The Prestige skin, obviously no chromas or anything, but yeah, see, this is really, really good. The snake body is awesome. I like the scales, and then I just like her outfit in this one. All right, guys, though, if I had to pick my top 3, this one's actually gonna be pretty easy. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna go with Prestige Mythmaker, although I do really, really, really like that one. I am gonna go, even though I have some, issues with the snake part of the body with Bewitching. I do like Bewitching. I do like Coven, and I do like Spirit Blossom. Not to say any of these older skins aren't bad or anything like that, or aren't good or anything like that. I do enjoy them, but I mean, these 3 are just on a different level, including Prestige Mythmaker, but Spirit Blossom, Coven, and Bewitching. You guys let me know what your favorite skin is in the comments, though. All right, just a little bit of trivia. Cassiopeia was the last champion released in 2010, as well as the 3rd one to feature an art spotlight. Hers in particular shows her taunt was animated. Cassiopeia's basic attack particles were snakes at release, as seen in her champion spotlight. Oh, okay. So we obviously skipped the champion spotlight because it was like a freaking 14-year-old video. But I guess she had snakes at release. Basic attack was snakes. Cassiopeia Katarina is one of 7 pairs of siblings. Okay. Twin Fang directly benefits from allied poison abilities in the same fashion Last Breath does with displacement ones. Okay, so she still gets benefits if other allies have poisoned that person. Her name's first element derives from Hebrew cassia, possibly from Semitic root ks cut, as the barks were scrapped from the tree's trunk. I don't know what any of this is. So this is just like different language stuff. We're not going to get too into that, I guess. The inspiration for Cassiopeia comes from mainly 3 sources. So Greek mythology, right, which I've mentioned. She shares names with the eponymous constellation charted by Ptolemy, as well as the eponymous queen from Greek mythology. Miasma references the eponymous mythical disease, and she resembles a gorgon with petrifying gaze in her death animation referencing Medusa, as well as a Dracana. Not sure what a Dracana is, but obviously the Medusa reference I knew. Hellenized Ptolemaic Egypt. Her seductress background references Cleopatra VII. Okay, I could see Cleopatra too. And the belly dance. She has a belly dance, I guess. Okay, and then Indian Nagini. So those are all just like little references there or sources of where the inspiration for Cassiopeia's design came from, which is all stuff, you know, we've learned throughout just like school or just history class or whatever, right? All right, onto the wiki. All right, everybody, we're looking at the wiki page for Cassiopeia. I skimmed over early life and recent events, and it's basically the biography and the story that we read just summarized. So we are going to skip both of those things. We're just going to go into appearance and personality and things like that. All right. So appearance. Cassiopeia is a slim woman who wears only a shuriman headdress, bra, and armbands on her elbows. After being transformed by her curse, her legs turned into a long green snake tail merged into her body with a golden belt, and her fingers have become golden with an adorned jewel on the back of each hand. She has black sclera with glowing lime irises and slitted pupils. She has snake-like fangs in place of teeth and a forked tongue. Personality. Cassiopeia is a treacherous, manipulative schemer who takes any opportunity she can to further her goals. Sounds like every Black Rose member. She has an individualistic philosophy, seeing others as tools to exploit. After transforming into her cursed form, she initially felt disgust towards her new body and despair from losing her old life as a noble, but embraced her new form as a way to enact her goals herself. Though Cassiopeia's new abilities have made her sadistic and predatory, she still has moral standards and prefers to hunt those more evil than herself. See, I mentioned that. Such as when she admonished and killed a Noxian soldier whom committed inhumane crimes. And that, I think, gives her character some complexity. Because obviously, when you look at that personality and the fact that she's in the Black Rose, you basically just think evil person, evil person. But she kind of has some moral standards there, and she still hunts people that are like really, really bad and worse than her. All right, so abilities. Magically altered physiology. After being bitten by a stone snake guardian that guarded the Tomb of the Forgotten in Shurima, Cassiopeia was transformed in a monstrous half-human, half-snake hybrid creature with several new powers. Tail. Cassiopeia's legs were replaced by a long snake-like tail. She can use her tail to ensnare others or as a blunt weapon. The tail is also much faster than normal human legs. Toxin creation. Cassiopeia naturally produces powerful toxins that can kill one in a matter of minutes. Fangs. Cassiopeia has gained fangs that she can use to bite her foes or shoot as projectiles. And petrifying gaze, which is probably her best ability. Cassiopeia's gaze can turn others to stone. All right, we have a little bit of relations here. Cassiopeia is Katarina's younger sister. The sisters and the Blade's shadow, which is Talon, are members of the Noxian noble house Dukuto, which Talon was adopted, whose head, General Marcus, Noxus's finest assassin, is missing and presumed dead, right? All right. And then Black Rose. Cassiopeia was initiated into the Black Rose Order by her mother, Soriana. One of her missions tasked by her mother was to retrieve godlike powers that had been the key to Shurima's supremacy in ancient times to help the Order defeat Swain's Triferix. Her father and sister supported Swain, which was considered a betrayal by Cassiopeia and her mother. Other members of her house may not be aware of their connection to the organization. Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like nobody knows this information because when I went to react to Katarina, there was very little mention of Cassiopeia because she went off with mom, right? And then we have Sivir, of course. Cassiopeia hired Sivir to raid ancient Shuriman ruins and later stabbed her to steal her blade in order to open an ancient tomb. Renekton and Zareth were released thanks to Cassiopeia. And we know what's happened since then with those two. All right, so in terms of content, we did read the biography. We didn't watch the video Descent into the Tomb because I've already watched it. And then the short story. So yeah, there isn't any more content for her. We need more Cassiopeia stuff. Let's add some more lore for her, Riot. I know that I feel like Shurima's been kind of at a standstill and they need to add some more content there. Obviously, Ishtal needs more lore as well. I don't know. Hopefully we'll get there eventually. Trivia. It is possible that the snake statue in the tomb is related to Naganeka, a god warrior deemed Darkin. Oh, so that's just like a little theory. In the old lore, Cassiopeia considers Talon as more of an outsider, while Katarina treats him as a brother. That says in the old lore. I feel like Cassiopeia probably doesn't even consider Talon as anything because she probably hasn't even met him. In current lore, I don't know. And then, yeah, we know about the relationship between Katarina and Talon because we read the comic for her. All right, guys, obviously this is going to be a little bit of a shorter reaction. That's totally okay. We still have the voice lines. Dang, everybody, I'm even more sad. She's not in Legends of Runeterra either. I got a little scared when we didn't see a trailer or anything for her, but I was like, okay, she's probably just an old thing in Legends of Runeterra, but no, she's not in that either. So all we have are some old League of Legends voice lines, I think. Let's give these a listen. And let's talk about why Cassiopeia needs more lore at the end of this video. All right, let's dive in. Here we go. Pick sound effect. Oh, I like that. Snake noise.
There is no antidote for me.
Oh, that is a spicy voice line.
Think what I could offer.
And that's the ban voice line. Okay, she's trying to seduce us already, guys. All right, moving on. First move.
Who will have the fortune of facing me today?
Dude.
So many strings waiting to be pulled.
These are spicy voice lines.
Another game of snake and mice.
Uh-huh. Okay, so moving voice lines.
Careful now. I bite.
What did I just say? All right.
Violence is so messy.
I feel like I've heard that voice line.
Patience, darling. I'm not so easy to get out of your system.
Oh, that's a clever one.
Spineless? No. Flexible? Extremely.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Some of these voice lines, though.
Keep your enemies close, and me closer.
Who wrote these? Who wrote these voice lines?
Like what you see.
Who wrote these voice lines? Because they just made Cassiopeia too spicy, man.
Power requires precision. Think what I could offer. Do not tempt a viper. Do you have a longing? Would you like one?
Whoa.
Secrets are sharper than blades.
I like that voice line, okay?
If you don't control pawns, you are one.
Oh, wow.
I'll take care of everything. Watch your step.
Hold on. We gotta roll back.
I'll take care of everything.
Okay, that's wild.
Watch your step.
Hold on.
Watch your step. Everything.
Hold on. Why does she do like a little moan at the end?
I'll take care of everything.
Okay.
Every problem is an opportunity.
Okay.
I know what everyone wants. Many wars begin with a whisper. I like to leave a lasting impression. Wealth is valuable only as a means to power.
Okay, cool. These are, I don't know, man. These are kind of spicy. Not saying that they're bad because of that, but they're actually quite good. You know, when you think of a snaky person, right? Like that might be something they'd say. All right, first encounter with Sivir. Oh, here we go.
Oh, Sivir. All you ever needed was a sharp prodding.
Oh, that's messed up. Too soon.
Apologies, Sivir. I dispose of tools that have exhausted their use.
Ooh.
Sivir, back to die so soon.
And the trash talk. All right, now we have taunts.
Eventually, they all come crawling back. It's just not possible to sink to the level of this competition.
Okay.
Sometimes failure just creeps right up on you, doesn't it?
And jokes.
If you want to be on top, you have to reach for it.
Okay, why'd my mind go somewhere else? Anyway,
No legs, but I still have a little spring in my step.
funny.
Nothing escapes my coil.
Okay, clever. All right, and then Cassiopeia's laugh. Oh, God. Okay, that is a very scary laugh. That's the laugh of a maniac, right? Of a crazy person. Yeah, that's a little scary. Ooh, that one was good. Oh, okay. All right, we have a few more. So attacking next.
Running only accelerates the venom. Destroy them from the inside out.
Oh, that's wild.
Don't be coy. Die with grace. Am I getting under your skin?
That's a funny one.
Just a taste. I can predict your every move. One touch is all it takes. Poison takes so many forms.
Ooh, I like that. Poison takes so many forms. That's super good.
Good to the last drop.
Oh, I've heard that voice line. Good to the last drop. I don't know where. Maybe TFT.
My affection runs deep. Let me in.
Let me in.
You won't forget my embrace.
Hey.
You won't feel a thing. Soon it will all sink in. Such unrefined creatures. Do not turn your back on me. Come, look me in the eyes. I do love getting up close and personal. It seems I must handle things personally.
All right, another round of just like good voice lines, some spicy ones in there as well. All right, moving on. We have using the ability. So we have Noxious Blast. And Miasma. and Twin Fang. The hisses into snarls. Ugh. And Petrifying Gaze. Oh, there's the scream that I was talking about earlier. Okay, cast time, I guess. Just her inhaling. And then completion. Oh, jeez. Okay, those sound awful. Kills and objectives. So scoring a pentakill.
A Noxian always rises to the top.
Typical Noxian belief, right?
Failure is an elegant poison. Let it seep in.
Huh. Okay, that's kind of a good one. Shopping. Buying Leandri's Anguish. Obviously, these items might not be available. I think maybe the Hourglass. I don't know. I've seen these before, and maybe not the Leandri's Anguish. I don't know.
We all wear masks. Some better than others.
Okay.
Let's enjoy our company just a little bit longer.
Okay. Placing a ward.
Keep your eyes open. Watch and wait. Trust what you see.
Recall.
I may leave, but I'm never gone.
That is creepy.
I'll be back soon. Miss me.
Miss me. That's a good one.
My attentions are needed elsewhere.
And finally, we have the death noises, which are always wild. Oh, God. Whoa. These are different. Oh, my God. It's like her voice goes further and further away. It's like her scream gets like shut out or something. All right. I guess there's a couple of co-op versus AI responses. They don't have them recorded. It just says, I just can't wait to face you. Show me your skills, Katarina. I'll keep an eye out for you next time. And GG. All right. So a little bit of trivia. I guess there was an old Cassiopeia. We won't look at that one, but we have this one. Violence is so messy and keep your enemies close and me closer. Reference violence solves everything and keep friends close and enemies guessing respectively. So Katarina's voice lines. Every problem is an opportunity references the phrase spoken by Inara Sarah in the Firefly episode Janestown. Oh, okay. I feel like maybe that could be used somewhere else, but if that's directly said in the Firefly show, there you go. All right. I didn't know what I was going to expect going into this. I see Eternum and Coven have voice lines respectively. It's the same ones, just in a little bit of a different flair to them. But I guess I didn't expect them to be spicy like that. Some of them, I guess she is another champion that is like kind of a seductress. She seduces people a little bit. Like, careful now I bite. Do think what I could offer. Like what you see. I mean, very much so in the sense of like Elise, which we just did recently, and of course Evelyn, also another person that would seduce people. So they got pretty spicy. These are pretty old League of Legends voice lines, but I think the writing for them was actually really clever. So she has some really good voice lines in here. Like, every problem is an opportunity is a good one. There was the other one about poison takes so many forms. Like, I think that's just cleverly written, and I think like obviously it goes like that. Poison takes so many forms obviously works for her character because she's a snake that can poison people, but also the sense that like poison can take so many forms in terms of like, right? You can think of so many things where something might poison somebody's mind or something might poison somebody's life in general. Like, there's so many things that could be poison for somebody. So I just thought that was a really cleverly written line. And there's some other ones throughout here as well. I mean, guys, of course, after listening to all of this and a pretty short reaction for Cassiopeia, she is pretty important, right? Like, she is a Black Rose member. So hopefully Cassiopeia will appear in this whole new Noxus thing that's going to be possibly coming out from Fortiche. So that'll be really cool because we need to see the Black Rose stuff. And I think we need to see Cassiopeia, and hopefully that pushes her lore forward. Obviously, in terms of like importance, in terms of being in the Black Rose or anything, I mean, she has her own role. I feel like it's almost the same as Elise's role, except I feel like Cassiopeia's role might be even more important because I think Cassiopeia believes in what the Black Rose is doing, and especially because her mom was part of the Black Rose, so she has that, right? But when I compare her to Elise obviously has her own personal gains and personal reasons for being in the Black Rose. While I feel like Cassiopeia is more like, okay, I'm with mom. She brought me in. And I listen to mom, and I agree with what mom's thinking is, and I agree that we shouldn't have Swain as in his triferics going on, right? Well, at least I don't think really cared about, you know, the triferics or anything like that. That's just my observation. I'm not 100% though. In terms of where Cassiopeia's lore could go in the future, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, because I'm not really sure. I mean, she was trying to get this whole power thing for her mom, Soriana, but that kind of didn't pan out, and she became a snake. She's kind of doing this vigilante thing a little bit, but obviously she's got to be getting like some goals or some missions from her mom and the Black Rose in terms of like furthering their thing and furthering, you know, their goal of eventually getting rid of Swain or the whole Mordekaiser stuff, right? So that's all my guess is. She's just working for the Black Rose, and she's continuing to help out the Black Rose and the cult and everything like that. So I don't really see her doing anything else other than that. And I really, really do hope we finally get to see some more Cassiopeia, because it seems like she's been kind of left out in terms of even the cinematic we just got recently. They could have put her in that. They honestly could have put her and Elise in that same room, and I think it would have been really cool just to see Cassiopeia. But even she was left out of that video, which kind of sucks, because I think I really like her character. She's a little similar, I guess, to Elise, but they do definitely have different things, especially with her being the sister to Katarina. I feel like that's super important, right? Like, we saw Katarina in the video, and it would have been crazy for Katarina to see Cassiopeia at that party. Obviously, I guess Cassiopeia is supposed to be in Shurima, but maybe, you know, this was a big Black Rose event. Cassiopeia was invited or something. It would have been really cool for sister and sister to see each other. So I feel like missed opportunity. Not saying that Bite Mark's video wasn't good. Bite Mark's video was obviously 10 out of 10. Loved it. But Cassiopeia needs some love. Do you guys agree? Let me know in the comments, all right? That's going to do it for this one, guys. Let me know if there's anything I missed. I don't really think there was. There just needs to be more stuff for Cassiopeia. Let me know any suggestions of who I should react to next. You guys have been doing that for me. I appreciate that. I think somebody said I should do Zach or something recently. But let me know in the comments who I should react to. Leave a thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the other reactions that you haven't seen yet. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.